Okay, so let's do a couple more examples of dividing decimal numbers. So have a look at this one. The first one's 18, which is a whole number divided by 0.06, which is obviously a decimal number. Now, if we do it the longer method, 18 goes inside the root, and then we have 0.06, which is outside. Now, what is actually important, it doesn't really matter what's inside here is a decimal number or not. But it's actually a lot easier if we make sure that this number which is sitting outside is not a decimal, because it is a lot easier without if it's not a decimal number. So how do we change that to a decimal, a whole number? So if you can see that this is, if I move this decimal point 1, 2 spot over here, it becomes 6. So which means if I multiply it by 100, now that becomes shifted 1, 2 spots over there, so which becomes 6.0. Well, that is actually 6. Now because I've multiplied this one by 100, I have to do the same with this number. So if I multiply 18 by 100, so that becomes 18. It's got two zeros, and I put 2 zeros at the end. Quite straightforward. So my new numbers or fraction would be 1800 divided by 6 now. Okay, now how do we do that? So obviously 100 goes inside, which is the first one, 1800 divided by 6, and the 6 goes outside. Now we do a digit or a number at a time. Does 6 go into 1? No, obviously it doesn't. So, but what about two of them together? Does 6 go into 18? Yes. 6 times 3 is 18. Now, if I minus it, was 18 minus 18. 0, obviously, right? Now, and then I drag this one down. So what does that become? 0. Now, what is 0? If there's nothing number, how many times is 6 going to 0? It's 0 times, obviously, right? Now, then again, I'm going to be left with 0. I have to make sure I use all of these numbers here. So now I drag this down. It's also 0. How many times is 6 going to 0? 0 times. 0, 0 minus 0 is actually 0. Now we know this is the remainder. 0 is the remainder. Now, the answer is, it's getting blurry, so answer is 300, whatever is on top here, this number. I'll circle it with a different color. That is the answer. So 1800 divided by 6 equals 300. Or we can say it's also the case, what was it, our original was 18 divided by 0.06 is also 300. We can quickly check it on our calculator. Let's do it. So 18, let's do the first one, 18 divided by 0.06, 300. Right? And then if we make up the one that we enlarge it by 100, so 1800 divided by 6 is also 300, and that's what we've got. So our answer is correct. Now let's do B. What we have in here is the first one divided by the second one. Now the first one's also decimal, the second one's also. If we put it inside, now the first one goes inside the root, and then 1.4 is sitting outside. If you can remember what I said before about this one, it's important to me, it's better if we make this number not a decimal. It's okay if what's inside is a decimal. So how do I make this one a whole number? As you can see, I can shift that decimal point only 1 behind 4. So if I multiply it by 10, this becomes 1.4. Sorry, this becomes 14. If I shift it that, it becomes 14. Now I have to do the same with this one. I multiplied by 10, I have to multiply this also by 10. That, you shift it one spot to the right, which becomes 0.0